Mother's Day from the Gallaghers, except it's not the Gallaghers, it's just the mom of the Gallaghers, Debbie. We decided that we do something a little bit different this week. Because it's Mother's Day, I'm going to share a little bit about my mom and the women who have made an impression in my life. And 10 years ago, we traveled to Scotland to visit Alan's family. And while we were there, we had planned on doing some music for our family and whoever we ran into. We did a couple of churches and some care homes. And but we discovered that it wasn't Mother's Day in the UK. And they celebrated in March. We celebrated in May. Also this week, I had come across a little blog about a gentleman who had lost his mom, and he had a list of 10 questions that he thought that everyone should ask their moms and record the answer, because he said that it was something that he would treasure having. So we thought we'd maybe do something along that line. Anyways, so Colin's going to help me out and lead me with the questions. he chose his 5 out of the 10.
What are your favorite memories of times you spent with your grandparents?
So grandparents, I had the pleasure of living right next door to my dad's mom and dad, because I grew up in the farm where my dad lived. And my mom's parents, my grandma, I only knew my grandma Taylor. My grandpa Taylor was gone before I was born. Only lived about 15 minutes away. So Grandma Akers and Grandpa Akers. Grandpa Akers, my strongest memory of him is in the barn. I don't remember him anywhere else. I remember him in the barn, just inside the doors, and he always saved the black candies. So he always had candies in his pocket, jelly beans or jujubes, and he always saved the black ones for me. Those were my favorite. And the other memory I have of him, again inside the barn doors, was on cold days he would take my mitts off and put his hands over top of my hands and rub them together and warm up my fingers. So I remember that. My Grandma Akers was probably my most influential music person, because she, although I don't remember her playing a lot, she was always encouraging us to make music. And some of the songs that I'm going to play here just a little bit are songs that remind me of her. They were either songs that she would encourage us to sing or play. The book that I'm playing from is one I attached to her. I'm not sure whether she gave it to me, but many of the hymns that I play out of this just remind me of her. But she grew up playing, and I know that she played in many different churches around the area, United, Methodist, Anglican. There was all kinds of different churches that she played at. So I kind of have a connection there. My Grandma Taylor was creative and always working. And her daughter, my mom, is very much like her. She just never sits still. And that is something that I get my Martha ways, I think, from that side of the family. And that's not a bad thing, because the Taylor women know how to get things done, and their gift of hospitality is amazing.
Who was your best friend, and what did the two of you like to do?
I don't remember a whole lot of what we liked to do. My best friend when I was young was my next door neighbor. Her name was Mona, and she lived next door. My strongest memory was a year that I had not been a very good friend to her. And in the middle of the summer, our dads were putting a fence line down the middle of our properties, and the two of us ended up helping out our dads doing that, and we made up. I don't remember, I hope that I was the one who apologized, because I was the one who had not been a very good friend that year. Um, but I just remember just meeting, it was like we met in the middle in between the two farms, and just got our friendship back. She's still a friend, even though she lives far away. She teaches in Japan and lives now in Nova Scotia. So that's my friend Mona.
How did you meet Dad, and how did he ask you to marry him?
Okay, so I met your dad my very first day of college. He was this, I just remember this really nice looking young man with curly blonde hair and an amazing voice. And I was drawn to him right away. So that's how we met. He asked me to marry him in a car as we were going into my cousin's stag and doe. So he's not very romantic, but I love him anyways.
Growing up, what did you want to be?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think I wanted to be a mom. I think that was my biggest dream, was to be a mom. I loved to teach. I was the oldest of 5, and even through the summer we had a blackboard, and I would line my brother and my sisters up and make them have a classroom, and we would learn, and I was always the teacher. So I think that was one thing. But I also remember a dream of always wanting to sing at the Grand Ole Opry. So I guess I kind of wanted to combine music and teaching.
What you did.
Which I ended up doing, yes. Maybe not in the way that I thought I was going to.
Last question. What is the one thing you still want to do that you haven't done?
I guess sing in the Grand Ole Opry, maybe. I got to stand on the stage last spring, but didn't quite have enough guts to sing a song. I just wanted to, creative-wise, music-wise, I talked a little bit about my grandma Akers, who was a great pianist and inspired me. I wanted to say something about my mother-in-law, who is gone now, but she was such a creative soul, Anna, and the boy that she raised, the man that I married, is a testimony to the love and the amazing person that she was. I have an amazing stepmother-in-law who is also very creative, and I look at the things that she creates, and I'm just in awe. My mom, I spoke a little bit about her, and she, if I could be half the woman that she is, I'd be doing well. She was the one, I remember the very first time I sang harmony on a song, I thought for sure that she was singing along, and I turned around and she wasn't in the room, but I could hear her voice. And even now, every time I sing harmony, I can hear her voice singing in my head. I don't know what it is, but that's how I hear harmony, and that's what I hear more often than I hear of the melody. I hear more harmony than I hear melody, and it's her singing in my ear. Whether or not it's Mother's Day where you are, it's never a bad time to celebrate your mother. So that's what we're doing today. We hope you'll celebrate your mothers along with us. I'm going to play a couple of hymns that, as I said earlier, my grandma loved, and so this is kind of in her honor.